You know that saying, if he wanted to, he would. What do you think about that?
Don't assume that they know where your bar is and where your standards are. So communicate those, like, I had a great time tonight. Let's keep the momentum going. I'm having a really great time getting to know you. So you've given at least some type of direction of where you want things to go. And then it's up to them to decide if they want to meet that standard or not.
Okay.
It's the silent expectations that are not really good markers because they didn't even know that you wanted them to or if they should.
Welcome to Glowlab. We're going to have a lot of fun and learn a lot together. Today's guest is a woman named Shan Boodram, and she's here to talk to us about the art of seduction and sex appeal. I actually found her because I was doom scrolling, doing my usual on TikTok, and I found one of her clips where she talked about the triangle method, which basically means you look someone in the eye, then you look down, and then you flick your eyes back up at them, and it lets them know that you're interested. And after that, I just started looking at all of her videos, and I was hooked. She's a certified sex educator and a relationship expert. She also has a master's in psychology, and she has her own podcast called Lovers by Shan. And in this episode, I think you're just going to have a lot of fun listening to all the advice that she has to give. I'm so excited for this because I've been watching some of your videos and I've been watching your podcast, and I just love the advice you give on dating and relationships, but mostly the art of seduction.
Yes.
And how you go about it and your take on it. Will you tell everybody a little bit about your background and how you got into this?
Yes. So hopefully what you're talking about is the sexy eye triangle clips you've seen. That's actually from my class on Masterclass, which is called The Art of Sex Appeal. Truly, it's the art of seduction, but that's Robert Greene's thing. So we added sex appeal to it, but I have been working and talking about sex now for 20 years, which feels like an insane sentence because I'm still learning so much every day. And I'm adding new things to my repertoire. I'm learning words I've never heard of before. Like I found out last week that if you have an upside down pineapple in your house, that means you're a swinger. And I'm like trying to go back in my mind, like how many houses I've been in that I didn't know that I could have been like, well, what are you guys doing after dinner? So there's always fun things to learn. I think I have the best job in the world. I'm in terms of qualifications, I'm an ASEX certified sex educator. I have a master's in psychology, and then I'm an American Board of Sexology certified sexologist. Period.
I love that. So when it comes to seduction or I guess sex appeal, what do you find people do wrong? Because and the reason why this topic even came up is because I recently posted a video where it was an Ask Me Anything, and people were asking about my dating life and if it's different from like now in my 40s versus my 20s. And I was saying how I'm having such a good time because I just feel like a different person. I have a different energy. I'm in a different place in my career. I have money. That it's like,
she got money.
And so I was saying this, but then in the comments, people are like, oh no, I'm in my 30s or in my 40s and it's hard out there. Or, just like even talking to women in their 20s, it sounds like it's so hard out there. And I feel like I've always been actually a really good dater. So I don't know what the difference is that I do versus what these people are doing. So what is it for someone who's having a hard time or feels like they have a hard time dating? What is it that they're missing?
Skills.
So this is practice.
It's practice, right? Like golf is hard, cooking is hard. Until you do it enough times, you learn your flow. There's that mix that happens where you follow the recipe book, you're very regimented, and then all of a sudden you go, I just watched this David Blaine thing where he was talking about this with this Japanese artist where, I'm going to mess this up, but it's a Japanese saying that basically says, study, mold, then break. And so in essence, when you first start something, you do it by the book. So we'll talk about the sexy eye triangle, which is to stare intensely at somebody's left eye. Let your eyes trail down to their toes and then flick it back up to the right. So it's just because direct eye contact communicates respect. Looking above somebody communicates dominance. Looking down at somebody is submissiveness. It's mischievousness. So when we look at someone directly in the eye, that can signify attraction, but can also signify respect and attentiveness. So how do we communicate to somebody that like, hey, this is more than just a regular conversation. Like I'm trying to do, and flirting is just communication plus sparks. Right. And the sparks have to be felt and mutual between us, or else it's just me in my head being like, I flirted. And the person's like, they sold me cheese. Right. So there has to be that plus sparks moment between us. I don't always think it has to be sexual sparks. It can just be something that makes you feel good for the rest of the day. We're going to flirt today. And hopefully that fires you up for whoever is lucky enough to be in your DMs later, that you carry that energy over. But I think a lot of people mistakenly assume that people are just born great at seduction or just born attractive. And no, these are skill sets. Mind you, like there's some people, there's LeBron James, and then there's the basketball players who look up to LeBron James and practice every single day. So of course, there are some people who are genetically designed to have an easier time in the dating game in terms of even marketing of society. Society has deemed their look as the more attractive look. And then there's billions of dollars pumped into putting people like you up on a pedestal. So when you walk into a room, you don't even have to do the work because Colgate did it for you. You know, the model looks just like you. So there's definitely, don't get me wrong, parts of this game that are out of your control, but a lot of it actually is in your control. And I hope that's hopeful for people.
Yeah, for sure. Well, since you brought it up, explain exactly what the triangle method is and show everybody what they're supposed to be doing. That's
it. It's like, I wish it was more complicated. But it's just direct eye contact, right? It might be simpler to look into an eye. So I just say choose left eye first, right? So you're just intensely staring at somebody. And then I'm gonna let my gaze drop. I'm going to flick it back up. And then I choose my right eye now. So, right. So it's a focused eye attention, that down. So my head is now down. And then my eyes come back up at you, right? Mm-hmm. And so maybe I smile a little bit afterwards. And maybe I turn to the side. Sitting in an S formation is also something that's seductive. That's also the fun part too, is that our brains are naturally wired to pick up on sexual cues. And so if you know what those cues are, even doing these little small subtle things can communicate to somebody that spark without you having to be like, do you have a girlfriend? You know, are you interested in me? Right? Like making the first move can be so much more coy, enjoyable, covert, and sexy, I think.
When would you pull out the triangle method?
I think in the first conversation. Right. If I'm talking to you about, I walk up to you and my opening line would probably be warmth plus competence plus question, which is, you know, a decent formula. So I'll walk up to you and I'll be like, oh my gosh, girl, I love your white shirt. It fits you so well. I've actually been a tailor for years and I love finding a good white shirt that actually genuinely fits somebody and hugs the shoulders. Looks amazing on you. Where did you buy that from? Mm-hmm. Where's your favorite place to shop?
I ordered it online.
Oh, yeah? You ordered online from where?
This one was Forward.
Oh, wow. Forward. I haven't heard that one before. Tell me more about that.
Ooh, I see what you did.
Right?
Okay.
So we're just having a conversation and it's just a subtle thing that says, and if you have a short amount of time to get someone's attention, it's just, again, to add a little bit of extra sauce to the conversation. This is also a really helpful tool too, because a lot of people, women in particular, or people who date men, sometimes feel like I shouldn't make the first move because if they're interested, then they'll make the first move. And in some ways I agree with that. But I think if you consider the first move, can I get your number? Right? Or, you know, can I get your Instagram or whatever that is that solidifies, like, let's keep this going. Then there's like 20 micro moves before that you can play. So yeah, sure. Let the man make the first move and you make the first 20 micro moves to set it up to make it very clear that you are interested. Yeah. So that way you're still selecting the people that you want, but you're letting them bring it home. It's kind of like that. Did you ever watch Hitch before?
Yeah.
You know, Will Smith gave that tip of the 80-20 kiss.
Yeah.
I feel like life is kind of like that too.
Explain it to people who haven't watched it.
In essence, he was trying to seduce this woman who was like way out of his league, right? Will was like, you know, when you get to that point with her, because he had coached him all the way to they had dates, there was like some kind of chemistry or flirtatiousness, but it wasn't like solidified romantic. He's like, when you get to the place of the first kiss, do not go all the way in. You have to lean in for 80 and then pause, let the other person come for the last 20 so that they kissed you. Even though you're the one who made the initiation, you're the one who did the physical move, they're the one who actually kissed you in the end. And that means something to how that person perceives the experience. And two, for you to know it's okay to continue to invest in this relationship.
Yeah. I completely remember this. And that was hilarious
too. Because he practiced with Will.
Exactly. I love that so much. So do you think that sometimes people, women especially, or anyone trying to attract a man, right? Do you think that it starts first in just the energy that they're putting out there? Because I know that like I know when I was married, my energy closed off. Right? There was no one hitting on me while I was married because I was just in the closed energy. But as soon as I filed for divorce, it felt like the energy just opened back up, right? And it was like, suddenly I'm looking around the room. Yep. I'm smiling more at people and everything. Do you think that is a big factor?
Huge factor. I mean, it does so much of the work for you. Again, kind of talking about making it easy for people to make their move on you. Mm-hmm. Even subtle things like not having your purse up here, but having it down here. So it doesn't look like you're on your way out. You know, your pelvis, where it's pointing, you want to be pelvis to pelvis people. Even if we're, you know, not a mile away, but if we're like across the room from each other, I still want to be like pelvis to pelvis with you. And then I'm laughing, I'm talking to my friends, I'm having a great time. My eyes are up. I'm not down in my phone. I'm like in the world. My pelvis is directed towards you. So it's very natural for me to look at you every so often. And hopefully we lock eyes. And scientifically, if you lock eyes with someone 3 times, that's a good indicator that there's mutual attraction.
Ooh, 3 times. So if you walk into a bar or a restaurant, and even though you're there to see your friends, but you spotted somebody that caught your eye, you should try to be kind of catching glimpses at them.
Yeah, try to catch glimpses of them. Like again, because my pelvis would be directed towards them. So I worked with these women once for my book, The Game of Desire, and we had a dinner where we invited like her ultimate crush to the dinner. And it was like a large group of people, but she made sure to sit across from him. It was like across on the other side of the table, but just naturally, like every time he looks up, he sees her, right? And she sees him and she's having a great time. She's smiling. She's not close enough to even talk to him, but the energy is just there because she's positioned herself to give and receive it. So there is something to that. But in general, just even the advice you gave, just like tell yourself that, right? Like there's so much to just even the script that you say in your head. I was mentioning to you that I did wedding photography for a long time before I was able to devote myself to this work, before I was able to make enough money. But the one thing that I always learned with photography is like what you tell yourself becomes true on camera in terms of what I see. So if somebody is so nervous and so uncomfortable, and that's the script that they're running, even though their brain is saying, smile, look pretty, their heart is like, I'm awkward, I'm uncomfortable. And that's the picture I take, right? Like, so you have to literally like, before you take a photo, I'm the baddest bitch. Like, I'm so cool. I'm marrying the love of my life, or I'm really awesome. I'm lit up by life. And you have to be running that script in your head. I always say this is my very first lesson on seduction. Happened when I was in college. You know, in college, you kind of have like friends and you have peripheral friends.
Yeah.
So we had a core group of friends. And then one of my friends had this peripheral friend. Her name was Anna. She always wore brown. She had curly hair, but it was like gelled down to her face. She was like kind of mousy, really quiet. She'd always join the group and then never really add to it, just kind of be there. And so we're like, oh yeah, like Anna was just kind of boring on the side. Yet whenever we would go out as a group, no matter where we went, guys would be flocking to her. So we went to this basketball game, the celebrity basketball game, and we're all there like big personalities, big energy, being open, doing all the right things, like laughing, cackling. And the game ends and the biggest celebrity like spots our section and starts coming over to us. And so all of us are like, oh my God, he's coming. Da-da-da-da. And of course he goes straight to Anne, right?
Yeah.
And so afterwards we're like, Anne, what the fuck is going on? What are you doing? And she's like, oh, whenever I see someone I'm attracted to, I just look in their eyes and picture having sex with them.
Wow. So she just goes,
and just takes it there. Like in her mind, takes off their clothes, licks their body.
Yeah.
Like, and they're seeing and experiencing that without even knowing it, right? Like what script you run in here has a lot to do with how the world perceives you.
yeah. Oh my gosh, that makes complete sense. Let's actually bring it to like modern day scenarios though. Not everybody, most people in fact, aren't really meeting in person anymore. They're meeting online.
Yes.
Whether it's through a DM or a dating app or something. Is there an art to that kind of sex appeal and seduction as well?
Yeah. Before we get into that though, I want to hear about you because you have success right now and you're feeling flow and openness and optimism about this area. What are you doing?
Well, first, I feel like I was always a good dater. You know, like they always say like the women that are like the hottest of the group sometimes get the least approached, right? I always felt like I was like not the hottest of my friend group, but I kind of knew I had like an attractiveness, right? And I think that really helped me throughout my life being kind of more in the middle.
Yeah.
Because I was able to just be more open in general, right? So I was always the person that got approached because I was fun, could chat. I have the confidence to just like look around the room, spot people. I will start a conversation, that kind of thing. So I think that for me, especially now because I'm in my 40s, I am more confident now, right? I've done all the things. I know how things work out, right? Like I don't stress about the little things anymore. I don't get anxiety about the same kind of stuff anymore. And I think that for me, it's just it's like taking the skills that I learned early.
Yes.
And then now adding to that I've got, my life kind of together. And I know I don't need a man. It's almost that detachment, right? Like that's what the girlies are saying, right? On social media right now. It's like,
that's why married men are so attractive, or people with boyfriends, right? Because especially if they're open to it, they can play the game, but they don't actually need to catch the fish.
Yep.
So you kind of have that.
Yeah.
You're like,
exactly.
I can do this. I can make the eye contact. If you don't come home with me, I'm fine.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have dinner. I'm gonna have a great time on the weekend. Like, we're fine. But if you want to come and make it more fun, great. I love that for you.
Yeah. Thank you. I love it for me too. It's been fun. I think though that what I kind of see with a lot of my friends and just people that I meet is that they're so committed to trying to, like, you've heard that like date to marry concept. I sometimes think that's the wrong way to do it. Obviously, you should, in the back of your head, be dating to marry, because you're not just, unless you just like never want to get married or whatever. But if you are the person that wants to find your forever, I almost think you should erase that and be there for the journey first, right?
Yes.
And I think that's that whole detachment thing. I say the word surrender a lot to friends, whether it's like in work life or in dating. I always say to people, you kind of have to surrender. You do the work, you surrender, because it's going to be whatever comes back to you is what's meant to be, right? But you got to do the work first. And so I feel like there's that, you have to have that surrender, that detachment, that you don't need to know what the outcome's going to be. You can put in that work for it and see, but then you also have to enjoy that journey and learn from that too, right? I feel like everybody I've dated has taught me something, whether it was about love or myself, or maybe even just like something that I needed in my career or whatever. So I think I've always had that mentality as well.
I feel like we have so much in common there. And you gave me an aha when you said that. And I'm going to try to apples to oranges to your world, because it seems counterintuitive. Like, of course you should date to marry if you want to get married. But if you start a business and your end goal is to sell it, and that's why you start the business, is that ever the right mindset?
Nope. You should know that that's what you would hope the outcome is going to be, but you absolutely have to put in the work and be passionate about it, because you don't know how long you're going to be in it.
Right. And there's going to be pivots and changes along the way. You might work with different people. So like, it's like you have this long-term goal in mind, but you have to know you're going to get there.
Yeah.
Right. Like, actually, the Singles in America study found that 80% of people who want to find a long-term partner do select one by age 40. And I can't give you that high of a stat for anything else. I can't say 80% of people are going to own a dream home. 80% of people are going to have their dream career. 80% will live in their dream city. Well, heck, have a car that doesn't have any more, car notes attached to it. So that's such a high stat. So if you can take that in and say, I'm going to figure this out. So I know, like, it's like the difference between, like, when you play a video game, you're going to finish it, but you're not in a rush to finish it. And the detours don't bother you, because you're just enjoying playing of the game, and you'll get there eventually.
Yep.
And you know that you're collecting the information that you need to make that end goal that much more satisfying and that much simpler, because you learned so much along the way. So there's that kind of balance. And I think for me, the same thing happened when I was 30. I was just like, I was swiping right on dudes whose pictures were just belt buckles.
Yep.
If they were interesting, I was like, I just want to sit across from somebody and have an interesting time. Who do I think I can have a really great time with? And I learned so much about myself. I learned things about, like this guy taught me so much about distribution through China. Yeah. And that's information that maybe in a different date I got to apply and use and make it even more fun. So, all of it was very valuable.
So we are very alike, because I remember there were dates, like I remember dating this guy just for a couple of months in my 20s, and he was such a good salesman. He was really good at his job. And he taught me so many tricks about what he would do as a salesman to really like close the deal. And I, to this day, apply those skills.
Oh, give us one of the tricks.
I mean, his first one, the one that I use the most, is when you're going to go into a first meeting and you want to sell your own brand or your own product, your own personal brand. He said, first go in and ask the person or the group, what are you looking for? What would fit for you? When you take that in and you listen first, then you can immediately mold your own brand, whether it's personal brand or a product, into how it would fit what they're looking for.
Yes.
And so that was the best thing. So anytime I sit in a meeting and I want my brand to be sold at a store, for instance, like a retailer, they'll say, oh, tell us about your brand. And I'll say, you know what? I have a whole presentation for you. But first, tell me what it is that you're looking for when you bring in a brand to sell at your store. And so I'll hear all the little things that they're looking for. I can pull from my brand. And it's not that I'm lying. It's just that I'm focusing on the things that matter to them.
Yes.
That my brand can bring to them. Right.
Yes.
And so that's one of the best tips I ever got from that guy. And to this day, I was in my 20s. I was like 25, 26. And I dated that guy. And that's what I got from him. You know, it wasn't a relationship that obviously went on, but I learned such valuable like sales skills from this guy just from dating him.
That's such a great hack. I love that. Right. And then when you think of it those ways, I think it can just be a really fun and energizing process. But I want to talk about dating apps because I have a recent story with this that was like a big shift for me. I work for Bumble as their sex and relationship expert, and my role expanded this year to now that I am helping to consult on like future features of the products. So they're trying to update a specific part of the like profile creation process. And they were like, well, you know the product inside and out, Shan, and da-da-da-da. And then at the end of the call, I'm like, I actually don't. Like, I kind of know it from slides, but I was like, I should use it to like figure it out. So I talked to my husband about it. We also have a relationship where this would be fine, but I just cleared it with them. Is it cool if I start a profile? He's like, of course. So I started my little profile, and then I was like, I'll just try it, whatever. And then of course you're there. You're like, well, let's see what's out there in the world. And so 10 years ago when I was on dating apps, literally like I would like somebody and I could just be like 3, 2, it's a match. Like it would just be an immediate match. And now I'm like liking people. And then now it was like, okay, I've learned the lesson, but I'm not getting any likes back.
Interesting.
So
why do you think that is?
I think that here's what I'll say, because I did talk about this with a friend of mine, and my friend was like, well, maybe it's because I got a premium thing, but then I canceled right away for the month because I was like, I'm not staying on, I'm just doing it for this. And I don't want to forget, and I'm having to keep paying for this thing. It's like, maybe the app is punishing you because you did this. I'm like, okay, let me just test it out and then like some people that are not my like, oh my gosh, yes. But instead are my like, oh, okay, cool. And my okay cools were matches. So I was like, what I learned from this is that dating apps are based on looks. I mean, by and large, they're based on looks. And if you want to date outside of your look bracket, like for what is just naturally going to come your way at any given time, they may not be the best tool for you. If you know your real magic, if you're the middle friend and I'm the middle friend, you know what I mean? Like, I know my real magic is in person. Yep. And so to get the guy that I am really attracted to, I'm probably going to have to see that guy out, ask him a question, have funny banter, give that moment of connection. Otherwise, if I'm going to have to like go with, you know, who I can get at my looks level, it may not be the person I'm ultimately attracted to. So I said to say there's a lot of things you can do with their dating app profile, of course. Like for your first photo, you want to think magazine cover, because when you go to the airport, all magazine covers look the same for the same reason. They're trying to catch your attention very quickly and somebody who's on the move, which also is a very good apples to orange for dating apps. People are moving very quickly. And if I want to stop them from doing this or doing this, I need a photo that's arresting. And that usually is nipples and up, eye contact, bright colors, smile, what have you. But that's going to give you an extra 1 second of looking. That doesn't mean they're going to like what they see, right? So yes, it's good to like have those photos, have interesting photos. Don't put groups. I can give you all of those like basic tips for sure. I can give you the perfect way to craft your about me. But by and large, it's the best tool if you know that you can catch the fish that you want to catch just by existing.
Yeah.
Right? If that's where you're at, because you're one, just attracted to people who are naturally just visually automatically attracted to you, or two, you're at the top of your game. You're 28 years old or whatever the fuck it is for you, right? So for me, I was like, oh, it's like a good sort of extra lesson in there of this is a really great and amazing tool. And it was great for me at 30. At 40, because I want the hottest dude.
Yeah, same. Why wouldn't we?
Some people don't.
Okay.
Some people want the funny guy, the quirky guy. I've come to realize this about myself, and it's not even a positive thing because looks are a depreciating asset.
Yep.
Right. And positive disillusionment essentially means that the more you get to know somebody, the more you exaggerate their positives and minimize their negatives. You know, they become more beautiful to you. And there's ample studies that prove this. So you really shouldn't focus on that. But at the end of the day, I just am who I am. Same. I like art. My husband is fine as hell. I tell him he's fine 40 times a day. That's important to me, you know? So I know that about myself. So that would I probably don't think I'm a fit for dating apps. Given what I know about where I am most potent.
So then what is something, you work with people, obviously. What do you find are some pretty common, I guess, things that you're seeing, issues that you're seeing with these people who are trying to, I guess, seduce or or find people to date? What are they doing wrong?
Casting the net too wide. There's such a vast difference between like the outdoorsy classic alpha works in construction guy versus the works in an office versus the engineer. There's just like all of these archetypes, and stereotyping, of course, is bad, but essentially stereotypes are observations about a general population that tend to be true a solid percentage of the time. Some stereotypes are outdated, of course, but when we're talking about the finance guy, versus the feminine artistic guy versus the Wall Street guy, you're going to tend to see kind of similar interests. And then also just in terms of what they're exposed to, because so much of attraction is about exposure, right? Mm-hmm. And so the guy in finance is going to be exposed to certain kinds of advertising, magazines, because stereotyping is happening on their own Instagram and in their own world. They're like, oh, this is this kind of guy, so we'll show him this messages. So then you have to craft yourself to kind of fit in line with what they are having put in front of them and what is being constantly reinforced as positive, right? So
give me an example of that.
Like
let's say I want a finance bro.
Yeah.
I live in New York City. What do I do?
They're going to be, you're probably great as is, right? Right? Like they're going to be seeing really well put together, beautiful, striking women who are confident. They'll probably get a mix of women like you and women who are like Instagram model tailgate people, right? So that's probably the two brackets that they're seeing constantly in their algorithm, or that they're seeing their friends date. And so then if you have to just tailor yourself to fit into those molds, right?
Is that bad to be tailoring yourself for?
It's exactly what you just said, which is like, I think, a perfect example.
Okay.
You want to make sure that it's like, because if you went to one of those pitch meetings and you asked, what do you want to see in a brand? And they start describing something that is just not a fit for you at all, you'd probably be like, this is not going to work out. If it's small tweaks and things that you know that you naturally could highlight or emphasize, of course. But if it's genuinely not a fit, I used to make the mistake arrogantly of being like, I could be perfect for anybody.
Right.
Because I kind of can, because I understand people enough to shift and maneuver myself. But I would be exhausted from lying about who I am for a long period of time. So I'm like, I'm not perfect for most people, for sure, because I know how I really want to exist in a relationship. So it's kind of a mix of both, of knowing who you want to get and who you want to be. Right. I think that there's a lot of emphasis in dating around getting the guy, getting the person. It's more about falling in love with yourself. Like, I want to get me. I want to love me. And I've been in relationships before where I was with the perfect person and I was a mute, insecure, sort of just like buffoon in connection with them.
It's funny you say that. While I was just getting ready this morning, I had old episodes of Sex and the City running in the background. And they're just like constantly playing on TV and they go back to back to back. And there was the one episode where Charlotte's like with her husband, that's like this waspy guy that she wanted on paper. Like he was exactly what she wanted on paper, but he just was not a fit for her. And then, we all know that later on she goes off to marry this more awkward guy, but he was all green flags, loved her. And it turned out to be the perfect relationship. I think you're kind of explaining that whole situation where she thought she knew what she wanted and the life she wanted, but it wasn't fitting for her. And then when she kind of surrendered, she found this other guy who was just everything for her. And
the advice still fits because like you do have to go after what you think you want, because or else it's going to be this nagging thing in your heart forever, right? So I believe that you need that opportunity. So if you have told yourself, I need to marry a doctor, I have to marry a doctor, even if genuinely your lifestyle, your temperament, your values, your long-term goals would more so suit a painter. If you have it in your mind that you have to marry a doctor, you got to date some doctors and then live in that experience and then actually decide for yourself, like, I don't think that this is a fit. And that's so valuable too.
Yeah.
That's where I think also with dating, the emphasis shouldn't so much be on finding your person. It's finding you within the dynamics of other people and finding the you that you like and you can do long term and then you feel you can expand in. Like there's room for me to like unpack some shit and like open up a paint studio. Like there's some land here, and land that I actually enjoy being on. So I think it's very important to date people that you think you want. And once you're in there, be like, okay, why don't I feel good here? Is it something in me that I have to fix because maybe I don't feel worthy enough, or maybe I have some unhealed trauma? If it's those things, then stay as best as you can and try to work that out. Be honest about what you're experiencing and your insecurities while in that partnership. Like give them visibility to that. But if you really assess it and you're like, It's the lifestyle. I remember I had this ex. I always reference back to this example because just going back to just not the perfect person for somebody. I remember we went to the beach one day and I had been working on this TV show for a few days, like glam, hair, makeup, whatever. And he was there for that. And then on my day off, we went to the beach and I was like, cool. I don't want to be that bitch. Like, I could be her 2 or 3 times a month. That's just not really who I am, though. So I'm like muscle tee, basketball shorts, hair in a bun at the beach, chilling. And so we're there together. And then there was this other girl, like a couple paces over, and she was wearing this like really sexy bikini and like one of those sun hats that was kind of a cowboy hat. And, you know, she had her like suntan lotion on and she was just like really frolicking, so cute. And I was like, oh, she's so cute in my mind. And then my boyfriend at the time was just like, oh, why can't you be more like that girl?
Ooh, ew.
But the truth is, just go get that girl.
Yeah.
Like my nails aren't, you know, I look at your cute little toes right now. I'm bare right now. You know, like bare nails, bare feet. That's just, I'm not going to be that girl. And even if like this guy in particular was my like high school crush, and when I got a chance to date him in my adult years, it was like a part of me was like, yes, you know, in your face, all the guys that didn't ask me to prom, I got my Prince Charming and I got him. And then I was like, ugh, I hate the experience of being with you and you hate the experience of being with me. And so I'm grateful that we did this and I understand that. And now let me go and actually find where my true fit is.
You know that saying, if he wanted to, he will?
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
Give me an example of that.
If he wanted to, he would. That's what everyone says, right? That saying. The example is, so like you've gone on a date, maybe 2 dates, and everybody is always like, oh, in the first date or 2, the guy usually knows if he wants to pursue something more. Not necessarily that you're the one, but he usually knows that he wants to pursue something more, whether it's, you know, like dating seriously or whatever, but he wants to pursue more usually at that point. So they always say you have to kind of like let him start to pursue, because if he wanted to, he would. That kind of, what do you think of that? Yeah,
I think that because kind of like comes from Ellen Feen's The Rules, right? But the thing about the rules is like you read the book. So you kind of have to communicate. So I do believe that, but you have to communicate the bar, right? So like I actually did this with my husband really early on where we were, you know, starting to like date and get to know each other. And then one morning he was like, hey, do you want to hang out today? And then I was like, yeah, sure. And then 2 hours passed. And then it was just like, oh, what time are you free? I'm like, oh, kind of any time today. And then 3 hours passed. And then the nighttime he was just like, oh, I had a really long day. Like, let's try again tomorrow. And I was like, no. I'm like, I do not like this style of communication. Do not start a conversation with me unless you are able to complete it within that sitting. I don't like this like scatter text. It makes me feel weird. It puts my day on edge. I'm not interested. So I'm okay not hearing from you. I'd rather not hear from you than have a kind of communication style like this. And after that, I never got those scatter texts again. So I think if he wanted to, he would, but at least he knows, right? So don't assume that they know where your bar is and where your standards are. So communicate those. Like, I had a great time tonight. Let's keep the momentum going. I'm having a really great time getting to know you. So you've given at least some type of direction of where you want things to go. And then it's up to them to decide if they want to meet that standard or not. It's the silent expectations that are not really good markers because they didn't even know that you wanted them to or if they should.
Okay. So it's like giving that subtle permission.
It can be subtle or stern. Like I said, like I think I was like, you can get to a place with somebody, you've judged the intimacy where you can just start to be really firm. And again, the goal is not to like boss you around or like pressure you. It's to put me in a position to actually enjoy being with you. Right. And I think we both want that. Right. And I want the same thing in reverse. I don't want you to be around me and have an attitude because I did a thing that pissed you off that I had no idea about. I want to put us in a position to enjoy the time that we have because this may go somewhere and it may not. But either way, I don't want to spend the afternoon with a sulking person.
Yeah,
so
completely.
Right. So let's just talk about it.
Yeah. If you like a guy, should you have sex on the first date or not?
I think the big things for sex are consent and intent.
Yeah.
And I think you have to clear those two things up before you move forward. And consent is we both want to do this, and intent is why are we doing this? And both answers should match up.
Do you have that conversation, or is it more of an internal conversation?
You definitely have it. I mean, you definitely have the consent conversation.
Yeah, obviously, yes.
And then the intent. Like, you can do it while you're, you know, at dinner or at advance. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so turned on by you. You're so hot. Like, I really want you. Oh my God, I want you too. We boom, 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 consent. Like, what does this mean for you? Like, why do you want to do this? What's exciting about my body to you?
Yeah.
What do you see for us afterwards? And you just keep the light in your eyes, even if the questions are hard, right? Even asking somebody like, when's the last time that you got tested? Because when I know my health status, I can really like go there in the bedroom and just enjoy it and be the freak that I am. When I don't, I hold back a lot. So what's your health status?
I can't even imagine being this forward. And I'm a forward person.
Yeah.
Like on a date. I guess what I was referring to is more like there's this old adage, right? That if you have sex with the guy right away, he won't take you seriously.
Yeah. And that's probably true for many people.
Yeah.
Even if it's just true in society, he's going to have the question the next day, should I take her seriously? Because I've been told my whole life that you're not supposed to take this girl seriously. Mm-hmm. So that societal messaging is there. And I think if we had that conversation before of even like, what does this mean to you? And you're like, I think this means that we're building something really special. Or I think this means I want to get to know you more. I think this means, I don't know, it's just fun. I just want to have a fun night together. And if you're like, I could have a fun night with my vibrator. I know me, and I know that this connection is going to make me feel more connected to you. So I want to have fun with you too. And we're going to have more fun if we don't have sex today and chill another time and get on the same page in this way. Trust me, we're going to have sex today. You'll have fun. I might have a great time. But the next time we talk, I'm going to be weird as fuck. So let's not do that. I think like one of the tips that I just like wish I could have given my younger self is like, it's okay to go to your car and masturbate. You know what I mean? Like if you're feeling that, I remember I went on a first date with this super hot guy and we had such a great connection. And then all of a sudden it was almost like the moon shifted because it went from flirty and fun to like, let's have sex.
Yeah.
And the way that it was done, I was like, I think this would like cheapen things for me. Because he washed my car, you know, and then he like took me to this beautiful like rooftop patio and then showed me around and then like played music for me and then like performed for me. And it was so sweet.
Wow.
And it would have felt like you did all of that to get me in bed. And maybe you did, but that's not the story that I want for the night. So I was just like, no. And then he just got like really like persistent. And the more persistent he got, the more I was like, no.
Gave you a nick.
And I got back to my car though. But girl, I was still horny. And I had an amazing self-pleasure session.
Yeah.
So I had all this built up sexual frustration. I could think about it and fantasize about it. So I still had great sex that night, just not with that person. And I, of course, didn't end up marrying them or having anything special with it. I don't regret not doing it. And I actually cast that guy in a project as an actor years later. And maybe I couldn't have done that, you know, if we would have gone there. So it worked out fine.
I love that. Thank you so much, Shan. This was so much fun. Where can people find you? I'm
going to say my class on Masterclass is called The Art of Sex Appeal. It's 2 hours. The first hour is actually all about sex.
Okay.
Positions, body parts, squirting, all of the things, prostate play for the first hour. And then the second hour is pretty much a lot of what we talked about today, but just a little bit more in depth.
Okay. I love that. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. What a joy. What a blast. Cheers to you.
Cheers with our water.
There. Sex in the City, mama.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Glowlab. If you enjoyed the show, make sure you follow, rate, and also share it with a friend because we want to keep the show going. I'll talk to you next time.